Okay, so Parashat Naso, right? This Shabbat we actually we are behind Israel in one parasha, and Parashat Naso starting with the Leviim, and then later on talk about the Kohanim. So Mordechai, especially for you, Birkat Kohanim.
I'm listening.
Yeah, so Netivot Shalom and the pages Lamed Bet, Lev, heart. דבר אל אהרון ואל בניו לאמור, כה תברכו בני ישראל, לאמור להם, right, יצא דברכך השם וישמרך, יאר השם פניו אליך ויחונקה, יישא השם פניו אליך ושלום שלום. We all know this ברכות, ברוך השם. יש לבאר עניין ברכת כהנים, we need to explain. What's the meaning of this ברכה? שהמתברך אינו זכאי לדבר מצד עצמו, ואף על פי כן מקבלו מכוח ברכה. That the blessed one, doesn't have the merit for the bracha, right? Or it doesn't have the merit to get something because of his merit is not good enough, but he still get it from the bracha itself. Okay, so another explanation, the nosach, like אשר קידשנו בקדושתו של אהרון וציוונו לברך את עמו ישראל באהבה, right? The rest of the mitzvot we say, אשר קידשנו במצוותיו, that he sanctified us with his mitzvot. But here, that the sanctified us with the holiness of Aaron and commanded to bless this nation Israel with love. Okay, so two questions here. One, a person doesn't have the merit to get something, but because of the bracha of the Kohanim, he still get it. And the second one is, why sanctifying this bracha with the holiness of Aaron and not like in the other mitzvot, the Shirkichenu b'mitzvotav, in his mitzvot. And also, why they determined to mention or to commemorate in the bracha the Gedusha of Aaron? And also, why to bless Amo Israel be'ava, with love? Because it says, yes, indeed, if the Birkat Kohanim needs to be with love, as it says in the Zohar Kadosh, right? I'll just translate that. If you have a Kohen that he doesn't love everyone in the congregation, he shouldn't go to the Duchan. But he said, okay, but this is the halacha of the bracha, but why is it determined in the nusach of the bracha? Right? We have so many halachot. We don't say שקידשנו מצוותיו וציוונו להניח תפילין on the hand with the 7 wraps and to do here, to do that. Well, you don't put the halacha. So here it's actually there, be'ahava. Right? That's the nusach habracha. So we have multiple questions here. And then we need to explain. He said, "Deina Kadosh Baruch Hu bara et haolam." Hashem created the world with an order, right? Law and order. That one of the concepts, right, is that the seder habriya, the order of the creation, is by having a mashpia umekabel. Mashpia is someone that influence, and the mekabel is the receiver, someone that receives something. To say the same way that creating men and all the other creatures is by mashpia umekabel, influence and receiver. Also the plants, right? The vegetation. They get rain, they get sun, right? That's the mashpia. And the land is the mekabel, it is the receiver. And by having that, it will grow the vegetation. And the connection, the relation between all the creatures and by the mashpia and the mekabel, by the influencer and the receiver, is with the midat ahava. As it says in the Tehillim, right? Ki amarti, because Hashem said, Olam chesed yibaneh, I will build this world on kindness, on chesed. He said that Shekol binyan olam, the entire building, right, the entire creation is by the midah of ahava, and that's the connection between the mashpia and the mekabel, the influencer and the receiver. So in the same way that we're talking about the gashmiut, right, the rain, the sun, it's also in spiritualism, by having a mashpia and mekabel. And it says here, it's impossible to a person to achieve a spiritual achievement without a mashpia, without an influencer. And the connection between them is by love. And this is inyan amshachat bracha, how we draw the blessing on us. Because it says truly, blessing bracha is not natural. It's above nature, right? Because if they said, Hashem will bless you and Hashem will keep you, will guard you safe, then this is things that are needed into the bracha. This is like natural, that's fine. And the bracha that we bless, right? Tishmor otcha, and the bracha will keep you safe. Because that's the koach of bracha, that's the strength of the bracha, the ashpa'at shefa elyon, the influencing of a divine influencer by an influencer and by a receiver, by a giver and a receiver. Right? So the divine good things coming from heaven to the one that is blessed. And we also found the brachot with the Avot HaKadoshim, right? Avraham to Yitzchak, Yitzchak to Yaakov, and Yaakov to his sons. Right? And also we found, like in the brachat Yitzchak leYaakov, right? It says, V'aseli mat'amim, cook gourmet food for me, right? Goat ribs probably, or something like that, or lamb ribs, but actually it was goats. And after that it says, Gshana v'shka libni, right? Come to me and kiss me, my son. Why does he need it? He needs the food because he's a fresser, he's not a fresser. But he needs the food, or he needs the kissing to strengthen the level, the midah of ahava between them. And then he can actually give a bracha, a good bracha. Right? That's the connection. The ahava, the love will be connecting between them. So said, the same way for the individual, in the ofen prati, we need to have a mashpia or mekabel, right, giver and receiver, in all the matter of the creation, in all avodat Hashem, and also in the Klalut Israel, in Israel, in the nation. So Hashem made it again with the same concept of giver and receiver. Who is the giver? Who is the influencer? Is Aaron HaKohen. Shaya ohev shalom, rodef shalom, ohev et like he loved the people, he loved peace, he making peace between husband and the wife, or wife and husband, and friends, etc., and bring him closer to the Torah. And the Kedusha of Aaron is coming from the level of a midah of ahava, which is connecting between the giver and the receiver. And that's the inyan of Birkat Kohanim that Hashem gave to us, to Israel, to bring the shefa, the bracha, by the givers, right, the influencer. And therefore, they're withdrawing, they're starting with the bracha, when we said, Asher kideshanu bekedushato shel Aaron, sacrifice with the kedusha of Aaron. Why? Because that's the source and the strength of the bracha of the Kohanim. That the kedusha of Aaron is the influencer to the entire nation. But that ashpa'ah was inherited by his sons, by all the other Kohanim. And because of Aaron, they have the strength, they have that merit to bless Israel, all of us, generation to generation. And that's why that's the important reason why it's mentioned in the bracha, ahava, right? Shekichanu b'kdasho shel Aaron, v'tziva levarech et amo Yisrael be'ahava. Because that's the yesod, that's the foundation of the strength, the core of the bracha of the Kohanim, is the love that they have. ובמיוחד, and he says specifically, it's related here, the inyan bracha b'inyanim ruchanim, spiritual thing, which is above nature. Why? He said, the purpose of us coming down to this world, right, is that we will be able to achieve a level, right, a divine level of closeness and cleaving to Hashem Yitbarach, right? It's like a contradiction. We are already in heaven, we're already in Shamayim, we're already a spiritual being, right, our souls, and Hashem bring us down to this world in order for us to be closer to Him. But we're already close. Why to get down here, right? That's the thing, because He wants us to work for it. He wants us to get to that level, right? As the Moshe Katav in the beginning of Mesilat Yesharim, the path of the straight, right? Ramchal, Rabbi Moshe Chaim Luzzatto, said that התכלית שברא הקדוש ברוך את האדם הוא כדי שיגיע להתענג על השם וליהנות מזה שכבודו. Like the purpose of why Hashem created the man is so he will be able to get pleasure from Hashem and to enjoy the glory of his Shechina. ושמו השם יתברך לאדם, and Hashem put him between the thing that keeping him away from Hashem. Right? So we should be working for that, and everything that we will do, right? Whether if we are eating or drinking or other gashmiut, that are actually supposed to take us away from the target, which is getting pleasure from Hashem and to enjoy His Shekhinah. So what can help us? If Hashem put us here in this world and all the things that we do are actually trying to keep us away from Hashem. So Hashem gave us the Torah and the mitzvot, and that will help us to fulfill the mission. That's a help and assistance that Hashem gave us. So we'll be able to stand in front of all the things that are keeping us away. But on top of that, Nosaf al Kach, Hashem gave with His mercy to Israel the bracha of the Kohanim, and which is the shefa, which is coming down by the influencer, by the giver, to the receiver. That every day a Jew should have a bracha of shefa elyon, how to get closer to Hashem and to be davuk v'shechina. So we know that Ashkenazim, they do only during Shlosha Regalim, I think, and maybe Rosh Hashanah, I'm not sure, or Kippur. And Sephardic we do every day. Every day we do. We actually have some that's sneaking into Armenian just to hear the Birkat Kohanim. They come, the regular one, because it's important to be, and actually it's important to stand in front of the Kohen. So said, so the same way we found with the Birkat Kohanim, the itkashrut, the connection between a Rav, right, that is actually in a higher level, because he's the giver, he's the influencer, right? And that's the source of the bracha in all the inyanim that are needed for the bracha. And without that, we cannot achieve any achievement in spiritualism. And the connection between, again, the giver and the receiver is by love. And the Rav HaKadosh Meruzhin, Zichuto Yagan Lenu, he said that when we're giving money, right, the charity, maswak, whatever, to the tzaddik, this is actually helping us to make the connection between the receiver and the giver. And therefore, Hashem commanded us for the matnot keuna, right? So whenever, whether if we have a farm and we have harvesting, we have fruits, or we have, I don't know, cows and lamb, etc., we need to give matanot, gifts to the Kohanim, because it's not good enough only to receive. We have to also need to give, right? It's like bi-directional. And this is the content of the brachot. Right? That Hashem will bless you and will watch over you. That the Chazal, they mention few perushim. It says Yevarchecha is in the anim of the Gashmiut and the Inyanim Ruchanimut. And what is Ishmercha? That Hashem will watch you, will keep you from the mazikim. So the same way in the Gashmiut, there are mazikin, right? Mazikin are something that somebody or some things that are trying to harm us, chas v'chalila. So in the Gashmiut, we have the IRS, right? So in spiritualism, we have demons, right? And we found it in the Torah, which is the holiest thing. And even so, right, it says in Chazal that even though that the Torah is the most holy thing, it can become a poison to somebody, right? It's something that like some is like a drug. It could be a drug that will revive us. It can be a drug that can kill someone, right? And therefore, we're asking for the geshem, for the rain, that it should be a bracha, a blessing, because sometimes rain can actually ruin things and not helping. Right? So that's why we ask him, מבקשים על הגשם שיהיה לברכה ולא לקללה, not for cursing. שאפילו, what is said here, okay, so he said, שאפילו, the geshem, right, the rain, which is the source of bracha, because all the brachot of the Torah is for the geshem. So geshem is rain, but geshem is also gashmiut. So we can understand it literally, that we're talking about water that's coming from the sky, or in general for all the gashmiut things, making a living, right, paying bills, etc. So he said the geshem is the source of bracha, and it's chas v'chalila can happen that rain can be also for cursed, not for bracha. In the same way in the Torah, in all the avodah, if chas v'chalila somebody is mixing bad kavanot, is not aiming correctly, or he have a different bad opinion, then he can twist the Torah And instead of having a drug that will keep him alive, it can be a poison, chas v'chalila. The second one is Ze'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka, right? And we said we can explain it according to what the Ma'amar Admor Baal Bet Avraham Zechut Galoni says. So when the time that the Jew, right, they have a light, spiritual light, then he acknowledges, he can see that all this matter of this world about his desires and lust, etc., they're actually darkness. It's nothing. They're nothing. They're nonsense. The evil inclination is tricking us, but our soul is actually from a world of pleasure, but divine pleasure. And when he doesn't see, a Jew doesn't see Elokut, and he doesn't feel the divine pleasure, then he have the desire that actually asking for pleasures, but not from the right side. So this is what the bracha, that Hashem will light his face, right? And the third one, V'alisa Hashem panav elecha, is maferish in the Midrash, that Hashem will like remove the anger from us. And we need a big blessing for that, so that Hashem will not be angry at Israel. Okay. וכמו שמקשה שם, and he's also asking about the Midrash, because he said, Isa panim, it's like overlooking, or, if your best friend is working in some place, you can always get discount, or you're cutting the line, he's opening you the side door to get in, and you bypassing the entire line of people that waiting 5 hours, right? Which is not fair to the others, but, he's your good friend that works over there, so he's treating you better. So he'd ask, how is it possible that Hashem will treat us better? All right? So we learned that Hashem asked us to say, just thank you for the food, and we were adding more things. He asked us to make a bracha only when we are really full, but we're doing a bracha on a small portion, right? Like a kazait or kerevit, etc. So we're going the extra mile. So Hashem said, okay, I will do the same thing with you. So he said in Kamur, so we learn here that the Birkat Kohanim is a gift that Hashem gave to his nation. So we could keep the cleaving to Hashem and hold on in all the things that are surrounding us. Yashmiut and spiritualism. And we can also say, when it says in the third bracha, Isa Hashem panav elecha v'sem lecha shalom, so shalom is also love, right? Shalom is peace. Shalom is also from the word shlemut, complete. Right? And the midat ahava, it's like he said, it's a koach mufla, it's a wonder, strength. And it's the key for all the spiritual thing, all the things that are not above nature. And our sages said, ahava mekalkelet hashua, so love can be also a negative thing, but love on a positive side is a great thing. As our sages said, right, that anyone is do tshuva from ahava, from love, not because he's afraid from the punishment, just because he loves Hashem, then all his donot, all the thing that he did deliberately became like merit. The same thing is the Ava and the Shalom ben Israel, between us, which is a klal gadol, right? V'ahavta lerecha kamocha, love your Jewish friend, right, like yourself. It's a klal gadol b'Torah that will help us to get to a really a high spiritual level. And this is the meaning of Isa Hashem panav elecha v'sem lecha shalom, that the Hashem will overlook, but because he loves us so much, he will give us that merit, even if we don't have the merit to have it, because this is supernatural, and he will use his connection to help us. And also included in what he says in Torah Avot, שאם יהודי מקבל באהבה את הנהגת Hashem, that if a Jew is accepting with love whatever Hashem is throwing to his direction, then it will be midah keneged midah. Then Hashem will accept his behavior, right? Because we know a nation cannot touch another nation without permission, right? Every grass have an angel that telling him to grow, right? So many times we forget about it. Somebody will do something bad to us and we will blame him. But no, this is from Shamayim. So if somebody chas v'chalila have bad thing coming and is accepting it with love, then Hashem said, okay, fine. Even though that person is not a tzaddik, but because he's accepting everything that I'm throwing to him with love, I will help him more. I will help him more. And this is a strength. It's really a koach that open for us all the gates which are by the nature, like the midah keneged midah, we can still twist it. The Sam and they put my name, right? The Kohanim put their name are my name, Hashem HaKadosh Baruch Hu, on Bnei Israel, and I will bless them. And Rashi explained, right, he's interpreting, it said, V'ani avachem l'Yisrael v'askim im haKohanim, that I will bless them, and I will agree with the Kohanim, whatever the blessing is well. V'samu et shmi, the name of Hashem, right, they have many names. One of them is called Shalom. And by having love and Shalom, right, peace and love, we are waking, we're bringing Hashem's agreement with the blessing, with the bracha. And chas v'chalila, the opposite of Shalom, right, it's bringing dinim, judgment. And love and Shalom actually are me'orerim ahava u'bracha melemala. So this is so important for the brachat Kohanim. And I'm having a kavana when it says, right, it says, that's another explanation. Yivachecha Hashem v'yishmerecha, that Hashem will bless and He will watch. So whatever we have on the positive thing, Hashem will keep it and He will guard it and make sure that it will remain with us. Ya'er Hashem panav elecha v'yichuneka. So when it says lighting, v'yichuneka, it's whatever we have, Hashem will increase on the positive side. If we have 5 figures in the bank account, Hashem will add 5 zeros after. If we have health, Hashem will make us healthier. And the Isa is something that we really don't deserve to have. Then Hashem will give it to us. This is like a simple kavana, but it's another kavanot that we have. But here we see that Netivot Shalom, we said that actually it's the Shalom. And this is the main concept of giver and receiver. And that's why Hashem gave this bracha to the Kohanim. He agreed with them. And this is so important because Hashem put us in this world that trying the best it can to take us away from Hashem. And then Hashem gave us the Torah and the mitzvot to help us to go back to Hashem. And another booster, which is the bracha of the Kohanim. Shkoyach.
Nice.
Kaya.